Yo, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to a brand new video on the Take 10 Fishing channel. In today's video, we got a lot in store. We're doing our traditional boys weekend trip up north, but for this year, we decided to bring you guys along. The main fish we are targeting in this video is lake trout, but there also could be the occasional whitefish, burbot, or even some walleye. I am currently at my residence right now where I go to college, and Alex and my dad are on the way up with their sleds and the truck. They've got all the gear packed, so I'm just waiting for them to get here and we're gonna get ready to go up north. Thank you guys so much for clicking on today's video. If you guys do enjoy it, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and let's get right into it.
Alright guys, we're a couple hours away from the destination. I just realized that I forgot my snow pants and I brought rain pants. It seems to be something that always happens to me. I was in the DR about a month ago and I didn't take sunglasses. We went up early ice to Lake Hooch and I didn't even have gloves. So I don't know why this always happens to me. Or no. Okay, I'll get two. I'll get this one and this one. Our yearly boys trip. Reading week just started a couple hours ago and we're on the road.
We're just stopped off at a grocery store, getting a few extra groceries for the cottage, just make sure we have everything.
Yeah.
Sure. So guys, we just made it to the cottage. As you can see, we got all the gear in the back.
Sleds are dirty.
We weren't able to bring the enclosed, so the sleds have lots of slush and salt and everything, so hopefully they don't get too bad.
Welcome to the new home for the weekend, guys.
Alex just gave you guys a little bit of a room tour, but we're in the cottage now. We're getting the fire going because you can see my breath. So fire's going right there. We're gearing up because it is cold out, so we're gonna gear up, take the sleds off the trailer, get all the ice gear ready, and then make our way out to the lake. Sleds are off the trailer. We just got them off, unloaded, started up, ready to warm up. Try not to get stuck because the driveway's not plowed yet, but we'll get her done.
After a couple slow weeks due to midterm exams and all that fun stuff, it is finally here and we are on reading week. What do we do on reading week and after exams? We do our yearly boys trip up north, and on today's video and the next couple of videos, hopefully, you're gonna watch us jig for lake trout.
Just hit sunrise. We got our lines down, graph on, and we're ready to fish. We just made a change to towards the middle of the lake. This morning when we started a bit shallow, but we were not marking. So we decided to pack everything up and move to a deeper spot.
All right, guys, so we just got set up here in the new spot, as Ian was saying. He just ran inside to grab us some breakfast / lunch. And the whole gang just kind of pulled up. You can hear the snowmobiles in the background, but I just hooked into a fish right off bottom. I'm bringing it up. I don't know what it is yet. This could be the first lake trout of the trip. And it is too, a lake trout. Nice. There we go. Skunk is out of the tent for today. So there you guys go. Beautiful northern lake trout there. That was caught on a minnow and a spoon. It was just jigged right off bottom. This is a natural fish, not stock, so we're gonna get a good release back on it. Just like that, there it goes. Alright guys, so we're back again. Bite slowed down a little bit. We moved out to a little bit of deeper water. Ian, actually, we're fishing a deep shoal. Ian headed out to the one side of the shoal with his graph. He's just kind of punching holes around, trying to see what's around us and what we can get going. I'm on a deep side. I'm in about 130 feet of water here, and he's fishing a little bit shallower water. We're trying to see if we can find out, you know, where they are on that feeding wall. I did just get this fish right off bottom. It is, I don't know, early in the afternoon-ish. So we're out here. I'm trying out deep. He's trying up shallow to see where we can get him. Depending where the evening bite goes and what happens here, we might head out that way. We might hold it out here, but let's see what we got here. Another small lake trout here. There's another one. Yeah, guys, we're just testing out the field, seeing where the fish are and what's going on and whatnot. So we'll get back to you guys soon. But he's hooked in what we think is a better fish.
There we go, guys. Just a tube of it off bottom, that's all it takes. Oh, where is she in the water column right now?
You're up like 10 feet.
I don't like those head shakes at all.
Oh shit.
Bail?
Yeah, you're good, you're good. I opened bail.
Come on, buddy. Oh, here it is, here it is, here it is. Got it?
Yeah.
Beautiful, buddy. It's been a bit slow at the start, but it was beauty. Going home, boys.
Alright guys, so Ian just got back. He ran to go to the washroom and grab us a portable charger and some bagels. And he left his rod just kind of dead stick beside me. And I saw this line just come right up, and I probably played it up and down for about 5 minutes. And he just got back and I showed him. He goes, there's no way he's not going to hit. And well, a couple up and downs, and here we go.
The mark even left the screen off the bottom and kept coming back. He was eager to eat.
That's a lake trout fight, buddy.
There's a lake trout, buddy.
You wanna
Yeah.
maybe clear out this?
A little bit of a rip, bud.
Dude, you see how long I played that fish for? Like
Yeah,
those are active fish.
I love this fucking lake.
It's ripping me right now.
Should I come over? Yeah, you're good.
Again.
You're good.
It's not massive, but. Alrighty, guys. So we have a tip up closer to shore. Oh, actually, it's actually
Old school tip up.
So guys, we're fishing a bit of a rock shoal right now, and basically the tip up was set like right close to the rock shoal, and we're off a little bit deeper, but we had a tip up set out a little bit closer to shore. We weren't really paying attention, but I looked out the window and I seen that it was down. We're using the old school tip ups that the old man gave us, so let's get this one back and keep fishing.
Alright boys and girls, we are back with today's tackle talk and how we have been catching these northern lake trout. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to break down what we're using for gear, how we break down the graph between the two of us, and how we structure out our spots. When we come out here, we run the very same program we do for brook trout. It's very similar in the sense of if the bite gets slow or there's not a lot of fish around, one guy runs an attraction bait, the other guy runs a bait that is more of like a finesse style or something that's like, you know, a little bit more quiet. So when I come out here and it's my turn to attract fish, it's very standard. It's either the vibrato or the lipless crankbait for me. But this weekend, I've typically ran a lot of the vibrato. And that's just because we've seen sun 2 of the 3 days that we were up here. So I like that flash and the vibration. Another thing I find with these northern lake trout is that sometimes they get very finicky and very spooked. One thing we found about this trip especially is these fish haven't been very aggressive at all. So I've just stuck with the Berkeley vibrato. This one is very similar to what an emerald shiner looks like. The reason I chose to go with the vibrato that is colored like a shiner is because there's a lot of shiners in this lake, and that's typically what they're feeding on. And guys that do ice fish out here typically run a lot of minnows and have a lot of success. So I like to kind of stay very similar and match the hatch. So let's break down the rod that I've got it on today. So it's the same one that you're going to see in the Burbot video. 36-inch medium heavy St. Croix, and I've got a 2500 size reel in it, 10-pound Power Pro main line, and then I've got it spooled up for Lakers on 8-pound test Seagar line. The reason I go with 8-pound is because the fish aren't really big in here, but they are pretty aggressive, and there is the odd time we get the big one. So I go with 8 because it's a good medium of in between. It's also pretty clear. The water we're fishing is very clear, so we like to downsize when we can. And when we were getting a lot of finicky fish on the screen, we went down to 6, even 4, just to see if they'd bite, but it didn't make a difference at all. The other bait that I've been running this weekend as well when we've been up here, when I'm not attracting fish and it's my turn to kind of swing around a bait that's not making as much noise or a lot of attraction, is I like to run a white swim bait. I like white in the clear water because it stands out a lot. White can kind of match anything that's in the water, like bait fish, you know, smelt bellies are white. So if the fish is coming from underneath and sees the white, kind of looks very similar to a smelt belly. The other thing too is the emerald shiners. They've got a very, well, not quite a white belly, but somewhat close. But mainly the reason I go white is because I like the way it stands out in the clear water. This is the swim bait I've got on today. I've got it on a small jig head. The reason I've picked a smaller program is because with these finicky fish, small seems to be the key. The jig head is a little bit heavier, but that's okay because I can get it up and down in the water column how I need to. The reason I've gone with a gray jig head and not white is because smelts are typically in this lake, and smelt have like a very kind of like dark blue, kind of black and purpley back, and their heads are typically a little bit of that color as well. So that's the reason I went with that head color. The outfit I'm running that swim bait on is a 32-inch Fenwick Eagle Series rod. I've got it paired up with a 2500 size reel. Again, we only run the Daiwa Revros for the most part on our reels. That's because they're fairly priced, they're super durable, they're lightweight, so when we're jigging all day in the hut, our arms aren't getting very tired. I've got 10-pound main line on the reel. It's, again, Power Pro braid. And then for a leader on this, same, 6-pound. I'm running 6-pound on this, a little bit lighter, so I'm not tangling a lighter bait. So I've got 6-pound Seagar on here, super clear, fishing clear water, finicky fish, we need that. Oh, Ian's...
I just missed the fish.
Yeah,
Dude,
drop down. He's coming up. Oh, yeah. He's coming up. Drop down, dude.
Oh my god.
There you go. There you go. So, I was just in the middle of tackle talk and Ian hooked up there.
I was not paying attention to the screen, man. No!
Drop down.
Alrighty guys, and for my lure selection, we're going to talk about this 3-inch white tube. There it is right there. Again, like Alex said, we're downsizing just because most of the fish in here, we see that the average isn't too big. Obviously in any lake there are big ones, but we typically hit the average size. Basically how I'm working this bait is either I'm jigging it just off bottom, or I'm letting it hang about 10 feet off bottom. And the other bait that I use when me and Alex do a switcheroo and he goes to more finesse and I go for the rattle and call in. When I'm calling the fish in, I'm using this live target lipless shiner. As you can see right there, it's got a good rattle, and the size of this hard bait is honestly perfect for here. The only downfall with using this bait is it's kind of hard to get down sometimes just because of the weight of it, but other than that, definitely a great bait for lake trout. Alrighty, and for my outfit, I've got 2 rods running this weekend. My first is a 36-inch heavy paired to a 2500 series Shimano Sienna, and the line I'm using is 8-pound mono as my main line, and my leader is 6-pound Seagar. And my second rod is the exact same Fenwick rod that Alex talked to you about. And lastly, for this tackle talk, I want to talk about this bait right here, the Blue Cleo spoon. This bait is something we stumbled across when we talked to the locals around this lake. Coming up here, we had no desire of using this exact spoon, but after hearing it's a good bait, putting it to the test, we quickly found out that this is a good bait to run in this lake in specific. Basically, all we do with this bait is load the bottom with shiners, and we just hold it dead sticked a few feet off bottom, and sometimes on the graph you'll see a mark from bottom shoot right up to that bait.
Dude, this laker doesn't eat.
Dude.
Oh god. I'm chasing him. Yo, clear yours off the screen for a sec.
And we got it on the GoPro, baby. That was weird, bro.
That was cool.
No. Woo.
Alright, the next thing we want to break down for you guys that's pretty crucial when you come out here to fish for these lake trout in any lake is figuring out where they're sitting in the water column and what's comfortable for them to cruise around in when it comes to temperatures, or where they're pinning bait against, whether it's the bottom or if it's the top of the ice. and we're going to show you just how we break this down. Alright, so breaking down the graph. This graph right here is the Lowrance Hook 7 reveal. What I've got going on here, we're fishing 71 feet of water, and that's not super accurate because we were fishing on a ledge. Due to the cone angle and the cone being so wide, there is a little bit of clearance down here where it shows the bottoms here, but really where our baits are falling are kind of down in here. What we like to do when we first get out here, before we figure out a program or a pattern on these fish, if we're fishing 71 feet, the guy that's attracting fish will typically stay up in here. He'll fish 20, 30, 40 feet, and we kind of just rip around in there. And then the other guy will typically run the bottom 30, the bottom 40 feet, and we kind of just come in there. If we start seeing marks that are in the middle of the column that are very active fish, what we'll instead do of fishing a guy on bottom, we'll both just kind of come up and fish from 10 to 20, even just above 10, because sometimes what these lake trout do is they'll push the bait fish right underneath the ice, and we see that pretty often here when we come earlier in the season. But what we've got going on right now, Ian's line's down here at 50. I'm just under it. It's picking up, not amazing. That's just because of the way the angle is and the cone not picking the bottom up correctly, and I've got a very small bait down there. The reason why we're pretty glued to bottom and we're not pretty far apart, the pattern that we picked up on the last couple days is a lot of fish are coming in off bottom and coming up to our baits. Starting the first 2 days of our trip, we didn't mark a whole lot in here when we were working the whole entire column, so we decided to fish the bottom half, and yesterday it really paid off.
And lastly, for this run over of all our gear, techniques, and tackle, we want to talk about how we break down structure on certain lakes. So currently, right now, we're fishing in between a shoal and a rock drop off from land. Out here it opens up into the big lake and gets super deep, but we're fishing up, as Alex said, in about 70 feet of water. The reason we chose 70 feet is because the last few days we've been noticing that the marks have been coming off bottom. We chose about the middle of the drop just because these lake trout, they like to push the bait up to the drop off, and we find that that's typically when they like to eat. We also like to fish the islands around here. Almost the exact same structure as this. It's a drop off right from the island. Again, we like to sit kind of at the bottom or towards the middle. And another very difficult thing is the cone angle on the graph. Alex touched on a little bit on this spot in particular, but we've drilled into holes where we cannot get a proper marking on the bottom. And sometimes that offset where you can't see your lure shoots up to even 10 or 20 feet if it's a super steep drop.
Alright everybody, we just finished kind of packing up for the afternoon. It's currently Sunday. It is 4 p.m. in the afternoon. The wind is picking up. It's getting pretty nasty out. There's a storm rolling through tomorrow, so we are leaving this afternoon, unfortunately. But we had an amazing weekend up here, as always. The boys' weekend after exams is always a great time, no matter the fishing is good or bad. The last couple years, we've really lucked out and had amazing weekends with lots and lots of fish. Last year, there was a bonus walleye caught. This year, things were a little bit different. I don't like to make excuses for why I didn't catch fish, but honestly, I think it had to do something with the weather, the later winter that we've had. From this lake, the ice had froze over, then thawed, froze over, then thawed, and it is now frozen solid. We've got about a foot of ice. I'm not sure if the fishing was just slow due to that, or if it was just the way that we've had inconsistent weather the last couple days up here. We've had some days that were cloudy with snow, some days that were bright and sunny, clear skies, some days that were colder, some days that were warmer, some nights that were really cold. So it's just kind of been a little bit of a mess. And we noticed that the fishing was going to be a little bit slower in the first day when a lot of our fish were on bottom and were not coming up very far to chase baits. There wasn't a lot of high-flying fish that we typically get on this lake, especially for this time of year. We're usually fishing pretty shallow, 35, 40, 50 feet. 55 is the deepest we'll go this time of year. We'll fish islands and flats. Typically, we didn't do that this year. We actually ventured out a little bit further, fished a little bit of the main lake, fished some shoals, tried to get them to go. We did get a couple fish. Most of them we got on film, but at the end of the day, this is fishing. That's how it works. It doesn't matter. As long as we're outside, we enjoyed it. We loved it as always.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment, and without further ado, we'll see you in the next one.